Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we'll be doing a detailed camera review of the latest smartphone from Vivo under the V series, the Vivo V25 Pro. Now Vivo's V series has been pretty much known for great camera setup, especially the selfie camera and also the rear camera has to be good because V series has been predominantly known for pretty good camera setup in the mid-range segment, although the X series has superior cameras that's more expensive. So Vivo's V series has been mid-range devices which caters to great camera smartphones. So this is the Vivo V25 Pro, and this comes with a triple camera setup. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device. So let's begin the detailed camera review. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's start with the hardware of the Vivo V25 Pro. Now it comes with a 64 megapixel primary sensor. It has optical image stabilization, f1.9 aperture, and you get a secondary 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with f2.2 aperture. Then you get a third 2 megapixel macro sensor. So even now a lot of brands are still going for the 8 plus 2 megapixel camera combination even in this price segment. That's definitely something which feels disappointing, because at this price segment there should have been a better ultra wide and a telephoto lens. So let's see the selfie camera. It's a 32 megapixel selfie camera, and you get f2.4 aperture for the 32 megapixel selfie camera. So let's see how good the camera experience is. So let's start with the camera samples. So first let's have a look at the daylight shots. Here you can see that the 64 megapixel sensor produces good images that are detailed and has good sharpness levels too. The colors are mostly good, although there is a tendency to saturate the sky colors, but not a major issue though. The detailing looks very good, and so is the sharpness levels, which is very good, and this is evident when you pixel peep. The dynamic range is once again good, and this is similar to premium Vivo smartphones. Overall the daylight shots are good thanks to the processing, and pretty sure people won't have anything to complain here. Now moving on to the 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, the images have good details, but obviously the sharpness levels are not so great, which is understandable from an 8 megapixel shooter. You can see the images have edges that are soft and lacking in details. The colors are surprisingly good and almost as good as the primary sensor. They are definitely good for social sharing. Let's move on to the close-up shots. Here you can see good details, and images have great sharpness and details since the primary camera is capable shooter. The colors are also pretty accurate and overall looks great. The phone also ships with a 2 megapixel macro sensor. While generally the 2 megapixel macro images looks dull, here Vivo has done some fine tuning to make it look decent, although it is still not a great macro sensor altogether. Moving on to the portraits, here you get good looking portraits, and this is good quality too. The skin tones are good, and so is the sharpness and details. The edge detection is also done well, while colors are a bit vivid. There are plenty of options to play around with portrait setting, including modes, bokeh, beauty mode and more. There is also night mode available for portraits. Overall, portraits are good and consistent. Let's move on to the low light images. Here you can see that it has good looking low light photography in indoor lighting condition, and noise is kept to minimum. This is more or less evident when you zoom in. But when you turn on the night mode in extreme low light conditions, you can see images have good details. Once again, noise is controlled to an extent, but the edges are soft and mushy. You can see that the night mode isn't overexposed like few other devices, and it is more or less looking like night in the photos, which is done pretty well. Overall, these are satisfactory low light images, although there is still room for improvement since V series is known for great cameras. Now moving on to the selfie camera, the 32 megapixel selfie camera does a good job here. There is also good details, and sharpness levels are also good. The skin tones are done well. Moreover, selfies are a personal choice, so you can decide based on the images. The low light selfies also turned out to be good, and there is night mode available for selfies too. There is also portrait mode available for selfies, and it does a decent job altogether with edge detection. Next, let's move on to the video recording. It can record videos in 4K at 60 fps, and here you don't get stabilization, although there might be optically made stabilization which we are not sure, so this is definitely not recommended for moving footages, but the quality is good. There is good colors and sharpness levels too. The phone also can do 4K at 30 fps with optically made stabilization and electronically made stabilization, and here you can see the video stabilization looks pretty good. The colors are once again done pretty well. The 1080p at 60 fps quality is also good. Once again, stabilization is offered, and the colors and sharpness levels are also once again good. The 1080p at 30 fps also support electronically made stabilization and looks good overall with good colors and decent sharpness levels too. There is also 1080p available for the ultra wide angle camera, and it looks pretty average in quality, although it does support electronic image stabilization. There is also slow motion support available, which can be at 240 fps resolution, and it does a good job overall. There is also night mode available for video recording with stabilization offered. Here is a sample. Do let us know what you guys think about this footage taken at night. So this is the front facing camera sample taken in 60 fps with a 1080p resolution using the Vivo V25 Pro, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the videos and also the audio output. So this is the front facing camera sample taken in 1080p 30 fps with stabilization turned on the Vivo V25 Pro. So that was a detailed camera review of the Vivo V25 Pro. So all in all, you can see that the primary camera, that's a 64 megapixel optically made stabilization, works pretty well, especially the daylight captures came out quite well. Good detailing, good sharpness levels, even the macros or rather the close-up images turned out to be pretty good. Then low light experience is once again quite satisfactory. The portraits are good, and the selfie camera also works pretty well. Now the ultra wide angle camera, although is quite okay, it's definitely not justified for this price segment, and 2 megapixel macro sensor was kind of average, I would say. Better than some of the other 2 megapixel cameras, but again at this price segment it should have been better macro sensors. So that's the camera aspect. So all in all, we feel Vivo V25 Pro has a good primary camera setup. The ultra wide and the macros are not bad as such, but at this price segment we feel it should have been better camera hardware offered. So that was a camera review of the Vivo V25 Pro. So what do you guys think about the camera on the Vivo V25 Pro? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off with the camera review of the Vivo V25 Pro. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.